Hello, everyone. My name's Yuta Jazz, and I'm continuing the Occult Saga podcast, episode 20 fucking 6, 27, 26, one of those numbers. Yeah, kind of excited that it's now coming up to a year since I started the podcast, and it's going steady, mostly steady, weekly episodes. So yeah, we are going to talk about mind manifesting slash manifesting in general, kind of a little bit. I don't think I'm going to go into the majority of it because I myself am a person that strongly believes and believed in manifesting, but also it's a tricky topic because the thing is you're constantly manifesting. You're continuously sending out some type of signal and you're constantly receiving it mirrored, reflected towards you. The thing is manifesting in its whole reality as a concept is becoming more conscious of that process and that effect. It's not necessarily a hack where you can just fix your life and change and have everything you want, etc. The coolest thing about manifesting is what you actually perceive, dream of, look towards, focus on, build, it manifests, it creates. Sometimes you can have like these weird conversations occur, right? Someone mentions it and then around you you manifest it, or in general you like experience it together, but it was co-created into reality. Some people literally cannot trace back the things that they've said, they've put out to the universe, or they've fixated and obsessed about until someone points it out, and even then they don't really believe it. But the thing is, if you start paying attention, you can see things that shouldn't occur occurring. Like if you're planning an event, or you're planning a move, or you're planning a gathering, or I don't know, just a day, right? You've already planned it. You've made a plan and then you followed that plan. Manifesting is you're going through your internal beliefs, emotional notions, mental notions, and then from that, a certain ripple of energy or whatever coherence, is manifested or kind of clicked in with the universe. And then you have your own matrix experience simulation of said, beliefs, emotions, and other things. Now, the thing is, it goes really deeply subconscious into you. So it's not as easy as like, oh, I'm going to start thinking about it and then it's going to happen. No, some people are more proficient and more conscious and aware in how they're manifesting. Other people literally have fucking magic. They just have shit pop up and pop out all the time, and they can be those manifestors for other people. The thing is, even like, I don't know why I just remembered human design, but human design, that's basically a whole graph for you on how you co-create reality and you understand and delve into it to realize like, oh, this is my input, this is how I receive and put out like energy and information and other things. This is how other people do that. Now, the thing is, if you're a really strong manifester, you're also learning alongside the point of how you create and how you can manipulate things into happening is you learn how you can negatively call in things or affect things or speak to them, and that has an input itself. Manifestors just basically have like a more conscious, direct punch, whereas people that aren't aware of it still need to figure out what is the veil, what is the Maya of existence or just being alive? Where are the misconceptions of it being just like a physical world where these things do not apply? Because when you're looking into manifestation, you're realizing the necessary wordplay, the language you need to use with yourself and the universe, how your subconscious responds to you, how your emotions respond to you, how you are maybe fixated on the wrong things, how you are wanting something that you aren't going to actually be happy with or be satisfied from. And you're unraveling that so you can kind of like clear out the signal that you are emanating. It's not necessarily just learning how to shoot your shot and get the thing. It's more like, oh, this is my frequency. This is how we clear it up. So the thing is, manifestations usually work in a few like there's so many different ways of how they work, but there can be manifestations that are momentary slash temporary. There could be cyclical manifestations, lifelong manifestations, and also at like, I mean, this is generally gonna affect everyone, it's just like the proficiency of it and consciousness of the individual that really can separate it out from one person to another. But you can also literally in the moment have something you think about and it just kind of appears and comes up. But the thing is, these different stages of possible manifestation are separated out into different ebbs and flows of life. So let's say we're having a really metaphysically woo-woo wacky weird ass fucking time on the planet and stuff is just appearing, disappearing, stuff like that, right? That's when people can just think of something and it just happens. Because if it's already occurring, then you're just registering in, oh, this is the timeline I'm on, or this is what's going to occur and happen, and it can feel like you're either manifesting or being a prophet. But in reality, you just get conscious on where you are. When you're creating into the future or in advance or shifting your, energy to fit a certain timeline and paradigm, that's more when you are actually looking into the future possibilities and how you want to have them and how you're co-creating them. And it can be spontaneous in the moment through the energy that's peaking around the planet, or it can be a lifelong healing of yours that you're going through, which usually takes around, I'd say, minimum 3 years, up to 5 and even 10, depending on what you're deprogramming and reprogramming as a foundational belief by which you can then co-create. This is also where the whole understanding of love and fear frequencies come in, because both of those energies are basically the most potent baseline aspects that you can create by. It's kind of like an electricity current has a minus and a plus. Same shit. You can create by the fear modality or by the love modality. Both of them scream as loud, they just have different results. It's obviously probably going to be a lot more fun and easier to create by love, but that's where the programming of the mind comes in of like, where's your fear-based mentality? Where is your core belief of reality? How do you really feel about things? Are you doing them from a free will of ease and being, or are you doing them by misconceptions of what you were raised by, where your logic is sitting, and other things like that? We all are going to have glimpses where we're creating easier than other, right, periods in time, but in whole reality as well, even like the most talented manifestors are in a spiritual journey of their own where they're figuring out their power. Other people just start unlocking to it. And that's when you can really notice the time where you're kind of evening out those ripples and creating new ones, because all of us are going to have something we're healing from, reworking, growing from, or where we're actualizing some type of mastery metaphysically with manifestation, especially. That's the whole premise of it. Uh, you're still always going to need to experience what you need to experience. You cannot get away from that. You can't manifest your ass out of there. You can manifest different themes of the same situation though, between like the darkest version of it and the lightest version of it, where that joke of like best timeline usually comes in, which is not a joke. You can be on different levels of the same experience. You can have the same exact experience, but you feel completely different internally about it, right? So always it's always going to be good to recognize what your capacity is, the time frame you're going by, and to not be a person that starts expecting things or becomes a perfectionist over, because it is a lot like going towards the direction you want to and then relapsing and then just figuring out like, or like a programmer when they code something in and it doesn't work the way they wanted to, going back and reworking the code and figuring out why the hell it doesn't work practically. When people start thinking that they can escape their lives, certain situations, that's when manifesting can feel the worst and like a trudge, because it's not necessarily escaping something as much as it is choosing something different or swapping out your core reality and understanding behind it. Because you can't really escape yourself. You can't escape your life or existence. But you can understand that you play a part in it and that you are a conscious co-creator, And other times, just fucking throw that whole thing out the window. Um, which I know is a bit counterintuitive considering the episode, but I really believed in manifestation. I still really believe it. I am very conscious of my thoughts and emotions and beliefs, how I speak to things, how I think about them, how I feel about them, how I react to things not working the way I want them to, or when, they work out even the way I do want them to. Your first reaction is going to be a huge sign of where you're sitting in terms of like your own baseline of expectations and perception. If you instantly react either triggered, expecting the worst, going by fear or planning or trying to figure out things that aren't even a problem yet, it's best to start focusing on how you're literally digesting all of that and maybe reworking it because it's a sign that you possibly might manifest things that aren't needed for you. If it's a lesson, you're always going to have it because, your guides are going to protect you from what you don't want to manifest or experience. But it's always a free will choice and point of like, you need to also learn how you're driving your car the right way and the incorrect way. It's just normal for everyone. It's like, learning life. It's just, I guess, a metaphysical belief behind it that requires more faith and a little bit of healing from the survivalist modality of how, everything works and how you can actually look to things with consciousness and love and faith and trust, and that your life works out a different way. You still live life, it still is life, but the results are different, and your personal experience inside of yourself is what always is going to matter. You only sit in your own head and heart and stuff like that, right? But manifestation, I think, is just a really good mindfulness practice, honestly. It does have magics, it does have metaphysics, but we can't exclude karma and learning and healing and pain and shadow work and all the other things that a lot of people are wary about, because if you take manifestation into your own hands without accountability or responsibility, you're going to get burned. You're going to see the results and how that doesn't work. And also, what I'm currently learning along my spiritual path is I've needed to be quite focused and even now understand how the concept of manifestation works. But I understand, for example, like I can only really work in the present moment instead of looking to the future of like these are the things I want to experience because I went by that, but now I'm literally kind of giving away that control to the universe and God and whatever, right? I believe what I believe, basically, to be higher powers that can take care of shit I can't see or I can't focus on right now, right? I just really like, it's a bit too much when you're planning to just move it, you're just planning to move. When you're planning on all of the energetic and like metaphysical or otherworldly or just things outside of your perception of this time, you can get lost in the details and yet again trip yourself out because things are always going to be taken care of the way they need to be taken care of. You can only really just look to the input you're giving into and then figure out where that input might lead you to some little nooks and crannies of hangups or, you know, negativity or denseness. And yeah, as long as you're kind of giving faith to understanding and knowing that what you feel, what you think isn't just yours. Like it does have a connection with consciousness surrounding you as well as the infinite everything and whatever else is beyond. Um, it becomes a nice, fun internal game where you're learning a lot. Because the ignorance of like, oh, things don't matter, create the same experience of, oh, nothing has a rhyme or reason and it just doesn't matter, and then you're not clicking into the timeline that you've already preset previously. Because honestly, it's not about controlling the universe. It's not about making things exactly as you want. It's just understanding how to surrender to yourself in life and trust yourself while you are having the experiences you want to feel, not the things you want to see or touch or whatever. Because if you have the feeling, you have your own personal variant of that experience that's going to suit you. Because all of our feelings, thoughts, desires, needs, circumstances, possibilities, everything is completely different, right? It's really important also when manifesting a partner. Don't think about the person, think about the qualities and the experience you want with that person. So there's a lot of like tricks and like tips for the possibility of how to master it, but it's also a personal language for everyone. It's a personal practice on how you do that, because we all have a different way of how we use a computer, how we tend to our home, how we do our, styling and hygiene and everything. Like all of these things are personal to us, but we all do them. So I'd really recommend, I guess, if you want to see how manifestation works for you, make a journal for about, I'd say a month or two would be enough. A month would be quite good. Two would be even better, of how you notice you've manifested certain things from certain thoughts, emotions, or just reactions. And then have at the end of that journal or notepad or whatever, what you actually want to manifest long term. What are your like life goals in a way where it's not, oh, career, but how I want to feel and my daily life to go, moment to moment type of thing, and see if you can actually get to it in the year that you write that down. Um, and you really are going to have like a really interesting training practice session of, oh, I noticed this is how I'm doing this. This is what I wanted. This is how I reacted. This is what it equaled. This is where I want to like move and hold, and you just draw it all out. It's kind of like mind maps and visualization, but it's yeah, it still towards the same topic of manifestation. But you can also use manifestation rituals, right? How's it called? Like 2 cups in with water, right? You can like pour out one thing and pour in the thing you want. Can't remember how's it called? I feel like I want to check it before I continue on it. So, 2 cups manifestation. The 2 cup manifestation method. There we go. You can read up on that. That's literally how you can Google it, and there's going to be a lot of entries. There's a lot of videos on it too. Practically, there's a lot of people that have practiced it. Water in general is like the best thing to manifest with because it's conscious. It really integrates information, energy, and what you speak over it. It can solidify that frequency. And then if you're consuming the water, if you're doing rituals, ritual baths with it, it really kind of kicks in. In general, it's probably the best way to manifest. But you can also do rituals where you bury things or burn things. But there's a variety of those. There's a apple one, an apple manifestation ritual where you gotta bury it. There's also money you can bury with notes and other things and knickknacks for abundance. You can do burning rituals, which is releasing more energy, but that's opening a space up to call in something else. And you can also, have another piece of paper you don't burn that's kind of like commemorating the trade out with it. Every element has its own effects or how it works with manifestation and how you then need to work with those elements because it's not just a bank you can keep, taking from. You do need to give back something when you are practicing magics. It's not you just manipulating, taking, and doing. It's also respecting the quantum everythingness. There we go, that exists. Plant with earth magic, it's easier because you can just plant like a plant, and that's you giving back already, or fertilizing something or whatever. Fire burns a little bit. I don't know. I'd recommend reading up if you're interested on how to work with fire energy and elements for manifestations because I still haven't figured out the concrete nature on how you give back when you're manifesting with fire, besides working with or through the fire element when it comes to social situations, speaking to things or creating passion and fire and all of that in your life or in, whatever you go through and experience. So, yeah, and then water, I mean, water, we already discussed that. Air, I don't know what the hell you can do with air. But if any of you know more about manifesting with elements, let me know. Because that might be a little bit of a point and avenue that I'll delve into more and figure out. Yeah, because there's holes in there. There's holes in there. So yeah. Dream manifesting also is a thing. Manifesting with people is probably the easiest thing because you have concrete conversations that then you can follow and see if they happen or not. Manifesting even just gatherings or events is a easy way to track where's what happening, but also if you're manifesting with people, they have an input too. It's not just you. If you're a high level magician or you're a really good manifester, then you are usually the leader in the manifesting of energies, or you're putting together the package, and then the universe responds to that. But everyone can put in their own detail and information, so you don't really have as much control as when you're dealing with yourself in your own life. Manifesting through dreams is very regular. That's why we have deja vus, is because you're on the timeline that you were co-creating and manifesting and reworking. A lot of what we do in our dreams is manifestation and reworking of current paradigm or future paradigm details and how to really settle it into the new frequency or timeline that you want to experience, and how to let go of old frequencies and timelines you do not want to experience anymore. In general, social dynamics and situations and people being dreamt up in multiple different categories like that is a clear sign that that's occurring and happening, or yeah, the deja vu's behind it. I'm thinking, no, never mind. I was thinking on what else I could add, but I just got told, no, you're done, that's enough. So I'm gonna trust my guides, because thank you guides for helping me do these podcast episodes and talk about this stuff and channel it, because it's a little bit, it's not, it's a little bit confusing or controversial at some points, or just counterintuitive, honestly, just counterintuitive in general. So yeah, I'm gonna come back to this one after I re-listen to it in a year or something. And I'll add some more practices, make it more coherent. I think it's a really good additive to the telepathy episode, because we were talking about how you speak to other people in your own free time. So this is basically the same, but for you personally, and then how that affects your life. So telepathy with people, here, mostly solo. You can do it with people too. Many more different versions of manifestation rather than contrary to telepathy. And at some point, if you're constantly learning how to manifest, you might still be called into having faith and trusting and just holding a certain frequency, so that's constantly mirrored to you, and then you can just see how the mirroring is showing you, I don't know, missing a bit of a step, or being fixated onto something you didn't need to, or accidentally having an expectation for the worst instead of like the best. And yeah, check your vibes, check your frequency, look at what you're rippling out and what you're co-creating, because it's probably one of the best practices you can do. The most practical, mindful, realistic, honest, and truthful, and you only see your own results if you start tracking it. You can't necessarily go by other people. It's you playing with your own reality and seeing its direct physical essence, right? So, okay, I think that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed. I definitely did. I appreciate you. I'm coming back to streaming and YouTube. I might do a double upload today. If not, then two uploads, 2 days. I am streaming once a week, twice a week. If I'm gonna have more time, I'm gonna do three, but one might be gaming if you're into that type of stuff. In general, we are still doing not pickup files, private readings that are public on Twitch. And I do some generals there if you don't want to ask me questions. Maybe that'll resonate. I don't do pickup files there. But yeah, you can also join my Discord through there, and we can keep in touch about how life's treating us. Other than that, I wish you the very best. Thank you so much for spending your time here and being part of the chill vibes and conversation and just hanging out. And yeah, many blessings and peace for you, towards you and yours, for your spiritual path, your full life path. And I'll come back with another episode next week. So have a good one. Peace out. See ya.